The United Kingdom's prime ministerial race has concluded. Liz Truss has been elected as the new Tory leader, and she's set now to become the UK's next prime minister.
It's an honour to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. I'd like to thank the 1922 committee, the party chairman, and the Conservative Party for organising one of the longest job interviews in history. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank my family, my friends, my political colleagues, and all of those who helped on this campaign. I'm incredibly grateful for all of your support. I'd like to pay tribute to my fellow candidates, particularly Rishi Sunak. It's been a hard-fought campaign. I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party. I also want to thank our outgoing leader, my friend, Boris Johnson. Friends and colleagues, thank you for putting your faith in me to lead our great Conservative Party.
Liz Truss came out on top, winning over 81,000 votes of Conservative Party members. The announcement triggers the start of a handover from Boris Johnson. On Tuesday, Mr Johnson will travel to Scotland to meet Queen Elizabeth to officially tender his resignation, following which Liz Truss will be asked to form a government by the monarch. This will make Truss's UK's third female Prime Minister, following Theresa May and Margaret Thatcher. Reports suggest that her team has been working on an emergency support package for energy bills. And within 3 days of taking office, she is expected to announce her plans. Liz Truss is starting a long, costly and difficult to-do list. Opposition lawmakers say it's the result of 12 years of poor Conservative government. Many have called for an early election, something that Liz Truss has said she will not allow. The Prime Minister-designate has said she'll appoint a strong cabinet soon. The Institute for Government think tank has predicted that Truss will have a weaker starting point than any of her predecessors. That's because she's not the most popular choice among her party's lawmakers. First, she'll turn to the urgent issue of surging energy prices and the cost of living. China, infrastructure, childcare and climate are also on the cards. Move to Jonathan Lis, who is a senior journalist also in London. Jonathan, I was just speaking to Liz there about the tough job that Liz Truss has got on her hands, given that she didn't get this job through a general election. How's she going to navigate all of this?
With great difficulty. Not only did she not have the support of MPs, but she only had 57% backing from Tory members, which was a lot less than most people predicted, certainly a lot less than the polls are predicting. I think the last poll said that she would win 69% of the vote. And importantly, it's also a lot less than Boris Johnson received in 2019 when he got 66%. So she really doesn't have a very strong base of support. And that's going to be very difficult because things are going to be very, very tricky for her from the beginning. With the economic crisis, the cost of living crisis, various rows with the EU. So it's hard to see where the good news is coming from and what sort of baseline of support she can draw on as the months draw on.
Do you think that means that she'll be forced to call a general election? Another one? We've had so many in the UK in recent years.
No, I don't, because she knows that she'll probably lose that election if she calls it. But I don't rule out the fact that a lot of Tory MPs will try to unseat her. She probably has a few months to try and deal with the cost of living crisis, particularly energy bills. And if she shows that she doesn't get a handle on that, and the polls continue to move towards Labour, which is already has its biggest margin of victory in the polls for 9 years, then I suspect that a lot of her MPs will try and get rid of her. But they might not succeed. That would be very, very damaging for her and the Conservative Party.
Given all the problems she faces, what is her top priority going to be when she takes office?
The biggest priority by far will be dealing with the cost of living crisis and people's energy bills, which are rising exponentially when people are paying for their gas and electricity. And earlier in the campaign, Truss indicated that she wasn't prepared to actually give people money. She said that she was opposed to handouts and that she wanted to address the issue by cutting taxes. That's not going to work for the basic reason that the poorest in society don't pay income tax anyway, and national insurance, which is the other tax that she wants to cut. And so there will have to be more. And so even though Truss is very ideological, quite a radical figure, she's presumably interested in self-preservation as well. And that is why I think that she will act in the next few days, as you were saying, to try and alleviate some of this problem.
How do you see her tenure in Number 10 playing out long term?
I don't think there'll be a long term in Truss's premiership. I think it's doubtful that she'll even make it to the general election, which is scheduled for 2024. And if she does, I expect her to lose it badly. The Conservatives have been in power for 12 years now, and we are currently in an economic crisis. Very, very low trust in the Conservative Party. The party's reputation has been badly bruised by Boris Johnson. People don't support Brexit. I think that people are bruised by COVID as well. And now we have obviously a huge economic crisis. Inflation is soaring to levels that have not been seen for 40 years. And the pound is at the lowest level against the dollar since 1985. So things do not look good in Britain right now. And ultimately, people will hold the government responsible for that.
Yeah, as a Brit in the US watching from across the Atlantic, I do see it feels like this winter could be really tough for a lot of people. Is there anyone that thinks that Liz Truss can sort this out and stop it being this winter that sounds, certainly on paper, like it's going to be a real struggle?
Truss. A recent poll suggested that only 2% of the population thought that she would be a great prime minister. And most of her party, as I was saying, don't seem to be behind her. So it's going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, there are things that she can do, such as artificially keeping the energy price as it is and not allowing it to rise. That's going to be very, very expensive. And she has indicated that she was not prepared to do that, but she seems to be changing her mind. So that is one thing that she could do, which might buy her some support from the electorate. But there is no good news ahead. And it will seem quite quickly as though Truss does not have a grip and a handle on all the crises facing Britain.
Jonathan Lis, thank you so much for those insights.
Thanks.